Hi, you're listening to recommendations for My Otaku Spouse or Otafu Susume. I'm Jen.
And I'm Wes.
So let's get started. It's Spooptober.
I don't think that's the official name.
That is the official name.
I'm pretty sure it's not.
It's the official name. Spooptober. We're in Spooptober. It is the Tober of Spoops.
What's a spoop?
It's a spoop. It's Halloween. It's the scary time of year where everything spoops. Spooptober.
Ghosts spook and skeletons doot. But what spoops?
Spoop. It's spoop.
Spoop?
It's Spooptober. Yeah. Anyway, it's Halloween season. And so we figured that for the next few weeks we would recommend Halloween-themed stuff to each other. Well, okay, I say we. I mean, I came up with this idea and I forced it upon Wes.
I was about to say, don't you put that evil on me. Back, witch.
It's Halloween.
Yeah.
I'm not a witch, I'm your wife.
But Jen.
Yes.
You're a witch for all 12 months, not just one.
Aww. I love you too.
Hooray. So.
You're going to wake up with warts one day.
Probably. Spooktober.
Spooptober. Yes. It is Halloween.
It is Halloween. And you had a horrible idea.
Yes, I did. And one of those ideas was to recommend, as I said, recommend Halloween stuff. But the problem is that Wes doesn't like scary things.
I am not a fan of scary movies, it's true. And that's because I find a lot of them default to jump scares.
Yes.
And I don't do jump scares well.
Well, I think from my perspective, I think you do jump scares very well.
No, I do not do jump scares well.
Normally you're like, ah. And I'm like, that's probably why you don't like them, isn't it? It's because I laugh at you.
I didn't like them well before I met you.
Oh, okay, good. So, I decided to be nice and make Wes watch a movie he had never seen before.
If you'd been mean, I would have vetoed it.
Yeah, I know. Fair enough. But anyway, I made you watch a film that you'd never seen before that wasn't scary.
I'd never seen it before, but I didn't know I hadn't seen it before.
Oh, yeah, you were like, I don't know if I've seen this or not. Which is the 1993 movie Hocus Pocus.
And that's part of the reason I didn't know if I'd seen it. Live-action Disney film from the early 90s is the kind of thing that, A, would be shown on free TV like ABC, which is owned by Disney in America, around this season frequently. Mm-hmm. And B, just the kind of thing to kind of show up sometime, like maybe if you're over at a friend's house and you're being too rowdy and the parents want to shut you up so they put a movie on.
Yeah.
So because of those situations and because of a somewhat rowdy childhood, I honestly couldn't remember if I'd seen this movie or not. After watching it, I can tell you I definitely hadn't.
Yes. So I'm clearly glad I showed it to you.
Hooray!
Actually, before we go into the movie itself, to me, it's one of those Halloween staples, but one that I actually hadn't seen in forever. Like you said, it's one of those movies that's always on TV, but when you have a movie that's always on TV, you don't tend to actually watch it. And so I kind of remembered all the key points, but there were a couple of things in between that I'd completely forgotten about.
I think it might have been on TV, so you didn't actually watch it. Might be a family thing for you guys.
Why would you say that?
Because I've spent Christmas at your parents' house multiple years.
Are you saying that we put things on the television and then completely ignore them?
Yes, but whenever you put them on the television, you're always like, oh, you're an American, you wouldn't have seen this, you have to see it, it's a classic. And then you talk over it for the next half hour and then change the channel to the next classic that I have to see because I've never seen.
Yeah, that sounds about right.
Yes.
I don't see what the problem is.
I'm just saying.
It reminds me of my childhood when Sundays would be the one day that Dad didn't have work and he would stick on the rugby and then fall asleep. And then when we go to change the channel, he'd be like, don't change the channel. I'm like, yeah, but you were asleep. So yeah, I was watching that. But you were asleep. Good times. So yeah, Hocus Pocus, Halloween classic.
Hocus Pocus, Halloween classic.
Yes, along with movies like Nightmare Before Christmas.
Yes.
And God, we came up with a whole list of movies. Oh, Casper.
I'm pretty sure I've seen that one.
Yeah.
But I do think it was one of those, you're at a party and the parents put it on in the background. So there's like little bits and pieces here and there I remember, but I could not tell you how the movie goes down.
We might have to rewatch that. And then just...
I remember everything about that movie.
And then also just, I guess, witchy movies. Like, I guess you got the Roald Dahl's Witches, which just came out with a new trailer for a remake.
Yeah, I saw that. I haven't seen the trailer yet. I actually don't think I saw the original on that one either.
Really?
I just read the book.
It creeped me out, so I've only seen it once. It's a scary movie.
There's quite a few Roald Dahl movies I have seen, but I think I definitely read more of the books than saw the movies.
And then other witchy things like Practical Magic.
Which you showed me.
Which I showed you, but you fell asleep halfway through.
I was jet lagged.
Anyway, but we came up with a whole bunch of like Halloween movies that we should watch, but really Hocus Pocus was the main one that I forced you to watch.
Yeah, and I can definitely see why it's shown yearly on TV come this season.
And why is that? Besides the fact that it's all about Halloween.
Because it's inoffensive and camp and got silly jokes and works really well for kids without needing to explain anything except for why the youngest of the three witches is constantly trying to drag men away.
No, they don't really need to explain that.
They don't need to, but it's like the only slightly adult thing in this entire...
the murder of children is a little adult.
Not with the way they present it.
That's true. She just falls asleep.
Yeah, there's like no actual violence in this movie. Even when the guy gets
rain of fire, or is it fiery rain? What was it?
I can't remember. But even like when he gets mugged by the local punks,
they don't have to show it. Yeah.
Nothing ever happens.
Oh wait, the one scene where the cat gets run over and then reinflates is kind of terrifying.
That's true, but it happens to a cat, not a person. Which doesn't make it better, but it does when it comes to getting a rating.
True. So I guess we should... I mean, a part of me would be surprised if people listening to this had never seen it, but also a part of me really wouldn't be surprised if people listening to this hadn't seen it.
We don't really need to give it a rundown, but I think also I was saying that it's kind of a campy cult classic type thing that's a yearly watch is also just because it was 100% an early 90s Disney live action movie.
Which made it amazing.
Which made it fun.
Actually, I'm looking at IMDb, and this has 94,158 ratings. People, and with an average rating of 6.9 out of 10.
Nice.
Which I think is an insult. It's a solid 7.
I'm sorry, it's 0.1 off of what you want it to be.
Just anything with a 6 in it is just... Oh, wait, I get why you said nice now.
Yeah, that was a joke.
Oh, okay, I get it now.
666, the number of the beast.
No, it's 6.9. Anyway.
Nice.
Damn it. So anyway, it's a campy movie. It's fun, and it's a must watch.
It has so many though, like just early 90s kids movie cliche.
Oh, like what?
Like teenage kid out of water, but he's too cool for school, but he's got the floppy hair and everyone's dressed super 90s the whole way through.
Oh, yeah.
And none of the kids can act that are in this movie.
Nope.
And just everything about it is the stereotypical high school set drama / movie from the 90s.
Yeah, honestly, the kids were the worst part. The best part were the witches.
The best part were definitely the witches. Although, speaking of the kids, slight spoilers, but happens in the first 10 minutes, so I don't care. The kid who gets turned into a cat.
Yeah.
When we first saw him, I was like, I recognize that kid.
Yeah.
I know who he is, but I didn't know who he was.
He just looked like generic boy band.
He is generic 90s. Boy band. But the reason why I recognized him was he's the guy who grows up to be Proby in NCIS.
Yes.
And I watched that show for only a couple seasons. That's what I do with any live action TV show.
Wait, did you actually watch it voluntarily, or did you just watch it when it was on, when your aunt put it on?
NCIS?
Yeah.
I watched that before I moved to Portland. But I watched it when my parents put it on.
So dark past.
I like procedurals so long as they stay a procedural. As soon as procedurals stop being procedural, I stop caring.
But yes, that was baby... What's his name? Proby.
Yes.
That's an unfortunate nickname.
Well, it's because he's on probation.
Oh.
His actual name is McGee, I think, but he's just called Proby.
Okay.
Deepest lore, Jen. Deepest lore.
Yeah, that's not one of those That was another show that was on TV in the background.
Well,
So I never paid attention to it.
fair enough.
But anyway, the witches were the best part.
100%.
Played by Bette Midler, Sarah Jessica Parker, and Kathy Najimy.
And speaking of which, both you and I were kind of shocked by Sarah Jessica Parker.
Yes. It
She
did
does
not look like
Sarah
her.
Jessica Parker.
And apparently they're going to try and bring all three back for the sequel.
Yeah, I heard that they'd actually got him signed on or something.
Or at least, I don't know if it had been confirmed, but it seemed like everyone was very interested in starring in the sequel. And the fact that they're actually doing a sequel like 20 years later.
Hopefully, because it's a campy passion project, some of the people in the movie who went on to become big names,
Literally
like
no
Sarah
one.
Jessica Parker.
Oh yeah, I guess like Sarah Jessica Parker. No, I think Sarah Jessica Parker was up for doing a reviving the role.
Yeah, but I mean, hopefully, if she's up for it, she won't demand some sort of money.
Yeah. I don't think they'll bring the kids back, partially because
They're not kids.
well, they're not kids and they didn't really go anywhere, I guess, apart from, I mean, Proby's dead.
They'll get a cameo role as some background character, no doubt.
Probably.
I mean, one of those blink and you'll miss it, but here's something for the fans of the movie.
But there is one cameo that I definitely hope that they include, which is a fact I didn't know until you told me.
Yeah.
The cat.
Yeah. So, the whole movie's set at night, and there's an animatronic cat that runs around. The one that the boy turns into that I already spoiled. And I was actually somewhat surprised by the cat.
I mean, they did use a real cat for half of it.
Did they?
Well, yeah, like when it literally runs around, and they
okay,
hold
yeah,
it and
yeah,
pet it.
Yeah. But for a few of the scenes, it's an animatronic cat. And it actually, for an early 90s live action Disney movie, I'm going to have to keep putting that kind of disclaimer in there. It actually looks pretty good.
Yeah.
I was totally okay with this cat. It was not nearly as janky as it could have been. And, when you think of a janky animatronic black cat, what do you think of?
I think it's Sabrina the Teenage Witch.
I think it's Sabrina the Teenage Witch. Actually, I've never seen Sabrina, so I think of all the GIFs I see of Salem online.
like going, bah!
No, more the one where he's in the sushi restaurant. And they're like, can we serve him? He's a cat. And they go, yeah, but he's got money. And it's the same cat.
It's the same animatronic.
They came out of Hocus Pocus and were like, well, we're not going to throw it away. And they threw the cat in storage. And when they were doing Sabrina, like, wait, we've got a cat in storage.
So they dragged it out of storage and was like, hey, this is, a little broken, but we can just stick a hand up it and it'll work. So it does not look as good as it does in the movie.
Well, I think also it's because part of it is that it is set at night, so you can hide a lot in darkness. Whenever Salem shows up in Sabrina, at least in the GIFs I've seen, it's always a poorly made, well-lit studio set.
Yeah, so good. And he's like really fat and his fur's really matted. I love Sabrina. Classic Sabrina. New Sabrina's crap. Sorry. I didn't like it.
What, you don't like the trend of rebooting old kids shows and filling them full of sex and violence?
It's not that it's full of sex and violence. It's just...
It's 100% full of sex and violence.
Maybe, but my main issue was the story didn't make sense. But that's a whole other issue. And you haven't seen it, and I'm not going to force you to watch it because I didn't enjoy it.
I probably wouldn't watch it anyway.
Exactly. There is definitely something about... Okay, this is probably pretty obvious, but there's something really appealing about witches for young girls and young women, especially me. I know, I just really like the appeal of witches, but I guess it's because they're like independent and powerful.
Is it the pointy hat?
Oh yeah, and the pony hat.
Is it the flying on the brooms?
I mean, that's pretty
/
cool.
mops / vacuums?
Yeah. I mean, I may have run around as a child with a broom pretending I was a witch. And witches normally were my go-to when it came to Halloween. Do you ever do trick-or-treating?
100%.
Oh, good. I guess trick-or-treating kind of died out in the UK.
That is a shame.
Yeah.
It's changed. Obviously, this year is going to be different. But in the States, it has changed quite a bit. And I was always really put out these past couple of years as the number of kids that would show up on Halloween got less and less and less. Because my aunt was born on Halloween. And so she always really played up the witch thing. She really, sometimes people are born on holidays and they kind of they're not always the big fan of it, whatever. But she always played it up. It was always a big thing for her. She had fancy witch hats. She had all sorts of Halloween decorations. She'd put up lights for it, all these sorts of things. And so just because of her enthusiasm and then afterwards in her memory, Halloween was always going to be a thing for me too. So I had to make sure you go out and get the chocolates and candies and all that and have it all ready and make sure you have the lights on so kids know that you're going to be there. But even still, slowly, the kids just kind of tailed off come Halloween, and it was a shame. Because it was always fun to see, kind of costumes that show up and how excited were they, all those types of things.
And definitely watching the movie, I know it's a movie, so everything was played up. And so I don't know if America really was like that, but there was like, the movie pictured it as the kids are just running wild and they're everywhere. And all the adults have their houses decorated and they're all dressed up.
You go to the right neighborhood, and that's how it was when I was growing up.
In my day.
You'd still get a little bit like, you kind of get groups, and there'd always be the parent chaperone leading the kids around. It wasn't just kick the kids out the door and let them go wild. Because it is definitely, there's been more parental hovering, I guess, as the years go on. That's why I was saying it's changed so much recently in America. I think last year was a big thing where they'd kind of do these parking lot trick-or-treating, where people go there and then someone would sit with a car and have it, and the kids would walk around the parking lot and go to the different cars and hand it out. But they'd still have all the parents there.
Boring.
Yeah, it wasn't the same. But when we grew up, you'd go out and you'd have a parent with you, and there'd be a bunch of kids, and you'd go around from house to house. And there were a lot of people out. And, when you look at older shows or shows that are set to be older, like even Stranger Things, when they go trick-or-treating in that, it's the same kind of thing where there's just kids everywhere. And you kind of had to have that perfect mix of American suburbia, because that's where you'd get a bunch of houses and the streets were relatively safe, because you'd have the big major arterials, but then you have all the smaller back streets to go through all the houses. So it all perfectly kind of played into that trick-or-treating thing.
Makes sense.
So it was played up for the movie, but not maybe as much as you're thinking.
I know when I was younger, we would go trick-or-treating, but we'd only go to houses that had jack-o'-lanterns outside the front.
Yeah, that's a big thing. That's why I was saying we'd leave a light on and things like that, or my aunt would always put out decorations. It's because you want to let people know that you're participating.
You're Halloween safe. Yeah, but it really wasn't that many. Yeah, it really wasn't that many in the UK, unfortunately, and I think it's definitely died out even more.
Sometimes schools let you come on a day dressed as in trick-or-treat gear.
Yeah, that's fun.
Costumes.
Yeah, I think that's definitely, since moving to Japan, Halloween's definitely become a lot bigger as well. I mean, obviously there was the thing in the news about the mob in Shibuya 2 years ago who pushed a truck over and set it on fire. But apart from that, I've definitely noticed a lot more people.
Yeah, but they just came out and said that they banned the Yakuza from handing out treats this year.
What? No switchblades for my kids?
No, it's a long standard tradition in Kobe, which we now live somewhat near to.
Oh, really? I didn't
where
know that.
Kids would go around to trick or treat, and the local Yakuza would give out candy to them.
Aww.
And it was clearly a public relations thing for the Yakuza, but from an outside perspective, it was just hilarious. So the fact that the government's come in and told the Yakuza they can't do it this year was just like, boo, boo.
Well, I mean, there's also health reasons. COVID.
Yeah, I think they've banned the Yakuza doing it before, too. So I don't think it's just COVID. But
it's a couple of things. Fair enough.
Also, boo.
I mean, I guess I can see why, because, hey, this guy's friendly. And then you get older and you're like, oh, it's that friendly guy that used to give me candy. Oh, you have a different kind of candy that I pay you for? Yeah.
Why are you trying to tarnish these happy childhood memories?
I'm sorry. Wait, it's not your happy childhood memories of getting candy from Yakuza?
It could be.
Well, it's not. You're American, not Japanese.
So witches.
Witches.
You grew up wanting to be a witch.
I mean, I'm not saying that I had a spell book or a couple of tarot card decks or, the hat or the broom or anything.
Okay, fair enough. You didn't have any of those, but you still wanted to be a witch.
I may have had those.
I know, you had all of those. Witches have changed. I blame Harry Potter.
Oh, God, yeah. No, not that kind of witch. A proper witch.
Yeah, but outside of Meryl Streep in Into the Woods, when's the last time you saw a proper witch?
Beautiful Creatures, which is a movie that I wanted to show you as well.
And I guess the beginning of Good Omens. Yeah, but I get a feeling
Good Omens is based on a book.
Yeah, but there's still a proper witch in it.
It's true.
I get the feeling, though, that nowadays for kids, witches are Harry Potter.
Fashion.
Well, they're still in fashion.
Oh, yeah.
Harry Potter is stupid popular, but I think that witches are just different. And I don't know. I like old witches.
Oh, wait, no. Recent witches have become horror movies again.
Did they? Oh, The Witch.
The Witch and The Conjuring, I think it's called. Was it The Conjuring? Or What's the one where the girl inherits witch powers?
I don't know. I don't like horror movies.
I know. But yeah, it seems like, witches have turned into scary again.
True,
so
and
they've become
the Roald Dahl's coming out.
Yeah, so they've become fashionable for horror movies.
Good.
Good.
I don't know. I prefer that witch.
Yeah, no, I think both are good. Like the sexy, powerful teenagers witch, and then you have your horrible, terrifying, I'm going to steal your children witch.
No, I always prefer the horrible, terrifying witch out of every other one.
But I was a teenager who wanted to be powerful. I identify with that. You were not a young girl, Wes. I can see why you don't connect with the whole idea of witches.
No, I like witches.
No, I mean connect with the idea of witches. Like identify. Anyway, whatevs. Never mind. They're scary.
They're better when they're scary. And the 3 best characters in this movie were the witches.
They were, but they weren't scary witches.
They were children's movies scary, which was
really
hilarious. I think my favorite bit is when they decide to go marching into town, and all 3 of them hitch up their skirts in unison, and then kind of do this stride as they're going along.
Yeah, it made you laugh every time they did it.
Every time. Oh, they were so good. Just the way they were playing. I mentioned it actually right after we watched it, while we were watching it. I don't know. So there's 3 witches, of course. But the leader witch and the Sarah Jessica Parker witch, because I've forgotten all their names, really to me struck me as like the perfect representation of the Joker Harley Quinn dynamic.
Yeah, you did mention that.
I mean, even down to the colors. Leader witch is wearing green and purple. Sarah Jessica Parker witch is wearing red and black, and she's blonde.
Red and purple.
Is it? It was very dark. It was at night.
It was dark.
But she's still blonde and all that, and just the way that she's kind of not all there and goofy and silly, but more than 100% dedicated to whatever they're going along with. And then you got the other one who's trying to keep her in line, but maybe not the nicest about it. And then you got the middle one who can smell children.
Mm-hmm. I mean, children are really smelly.
It's true.
It's true. Yeah.
Bathe your children, people. It had to have a musical number in the middle.
Yeah, the musical number was good.
I like the musical number.
I thought you would.
I mean, of course I would.
It's a musical number.
Yeah.
So really what we need is a new Harlequin movie, but where the Joker and Harlequin are played by Sarah Jessica Parker and...
What's her name? Betty Midler?
Betty... crap, I can't remember. Yes, Betty Midler.
Yeah, I'd go for it. I don't see why not. It'd be better than the Joker and Harlequin we got in Suicide Squad.
And unfortunately, that has become canon for modern DC, but that's a whole other conversation.
Boo. Boo, DC. I think I saw they were having money issues and going digital only or something like that.
Big comics are always having money issues. There is not
Big
a huge...
Western comics.
Big Western comics are always having money issues. There is not a high profit margin. However, that is another conversation for another time.
That's also true.
Which actually we could talk about next week. Because you recommended something Halloween to me.
I did. Should we tell them what it is?
Sure. So I guess we should probably wrap up and say, hey, go watch Hocus Pocus.
Oh, 100%. Go watch Hocus. I mean, if you're in America and you're listening to this, you can go turn on your TV listings or pull up your TV listings, and you'll see it probably on ABC sometime in the next couple of weeks before the 31st. And if you're not in America, or even if you are in America...
If you're in the UK, it's probably on TV as well.
Yeah, on TV, streaming somewhere. I don't know where it is. It exists. Find it. Watch it. Have a good time. If you're of age, maybe have a drink. If you're not of age, or even if you are of age, make some popcorn.
Both are good.
Yeah.
Especially because, I mean, Halloween has definitely become an excuse for older people to drink and dress up.
I think it always was. I mean, we saw in the movie, what do the parents do? They abandon the kids so they can go off to get drunk and dance the night away.
Yeah, it's great. Anyway, so yeah, you recommend, how about your Halloween recommendation?
Yes. So I recommended to you something more tangentially related, but still related. Batman: The Long Halloween.
Batman. Speaking of DC.
I'm Batman.
Wait, does he actually say that? It's been a while.
Yeah, it's been a while. I'll probably reread it myself. But I don't know if he does or not. I mean, if he introduces himself when he's the Bat, he wouldn't say, I'm Bruce Wayne.
He say, I'm the Bat. Actually, normally he says something like, I'm your worst nightmare. Brr.
Or an all-star Batman. He said, I'm the goddamn Batman.
Or we could watch Teen Titans. Fuck Batman.
No, I'm cool with that.
Screw that.
I'm fine. I'm fine. We can just go watch Teen Titans Go again.
Yay. So yeah, if you want to hear us bitching about DC Comics and Halloween next week,
join us next week on another episode of Otafu Susume, or Recommendations from My Otaku Spouse.
I'm Jen.
I'm Wes.
And you can find us on Twitter at AnnieBrosCreative or on the internet at AnnieBrosCreative.com.
Where you'll also find some of our sister podcasts, which can be fun to listen to.
Can be.
I mean, I don't want to put words in their mouth. I don't want to speak on their behalf.
Yeah, I don't actually know because I don't listen to the podcast.
Boom! And on that bombshell, we're going to call it. Thanks for listening. Bye.
Bye.